do this right. Just like that. Okay. Get this one over here. What's going on, world? Who is with us tonight? Is it Bullfrog? Is it Creative Redundancy? Is it JFM? Is it Yorin? Yorin must be up by now, I'm sure. Who has decided to give us a visit? Is it Hoople's cat working at the hospital? Making sure those little babies are getting born right? If you're just tuning in, we're going to be talking about, well, a lot of stuff, but I'm going to try to focus on bugging in, bugging out, evacuation. I'm starving, so I'm eating some dinner at the same time. If you give me a minute, I'm going to optimize the live stream real quick with a little bit of SEO. Stands for search engine optimization. It's only going to take me 5 different clicks to get to where I want to go. 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, 4 clicks, 4 clicks. I guess that's not too bad. Videos, person. Go ahead and throw that there, throw that there. Save changes. All right. Yeah. It's going to be a little hard to carry on a conversation with one person, but let's wait till a few people get here and maybe things will liven up a little bit. Maybe I'll write down some of the stuff in the news related to prepping. Like Hawaii. Had volcanic activity in Hawaii, which has been very, very interesting of late. Their volcano has done a little bit, not really erupting, but their volcano doesn't erupt like a classic volcano. It just sort of a bunch of lava fissures out and does lava-y stuff. What else do we have going on? Chicagoland. Mob of teens responsible for robberies. That sounds kind of like WROL, doesn't it? Teens, robberies. Da-da-da-da. Ebola kills 17 in the Congo. In fact, one of our friends, Hoople's cat, did a video on pandemic recently. Seems very prescient. Chicagoland. Well, I hope we get some viewers here. I mean, I am on the West Coast, so I suppose it's 12 o'clock Mountain Time, 1 o'clock Central Time, and 2 a.m. Eastern. Ooh, maybe it is too late for a live stream. See how many of my viewers are up in the middle of the night. In case you're wondering, this is some delicious cheddar broccoli noodles as well as noodle soup mix, courtesy of Uncle Al. Man, this is looking like it's going to be a quiet stream tonight. It's a little unfortunate. I was working on looking into different things today. You can see that, but it says volunteer firefighters, search and rescue, and Red Cross, and CERT. So I applied to be a volunteer firefighter. Who knows how that's going to go? I kind of am busy in the weekdays, but I'll have time on the weekends, you know, so we definitely had some fires here in the Los Angeles area recently. In fact, all of Ventura was threatened. It was, in fact, now that's a few months later. Look for some pictures real quick. Yeah, I mean, it was just unreal. The Thomas Fire just did a number on Ventura. In fact, and we're coming into fire season. That's another good topic, fire season in California here. All the more reason to get prepared. So I applied to be a volunteer firefighter. I was checking out search and rescue, which is now kind of called like urban search and rescue, I think. Or at least that's one part of it anyways. And it's a little, yeah, so it used to be search and rescue, but now I guess it's kind of turned into search and rescue, which is part of the FEMA and USNR, which is Urban Search and Rescue Task Force in Los Angeles. Which is designed to send out trained teams of 70 to go search and rescue people in an urban environment. Now, they didn't really say on this website here that I'm looking at about how to join the urban search and rescue, so I shot an email to somebody about it and said, "Hey, what's going on?" Maybe it's not open to the public. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Maybe you have to be in the know to join. But you know, life's short. I'm young. Not really. I guess I'm middle-aged. Oh God, that sounds terrible. I'm young for a middle-aged person, but if I live to 74, I'm half. I'm exactly half a life old, half a lifetime old. Oh man, not my favorite thing to think about. But in fact, I was almost getting a little bit sad last night thinking about, not last night, but like the other night. I don't know why, but every once in a while I think about mortality. Oh, what's going on? Another random person. I've just been talking to myself for 12 minutes, trying to create some type of meaningful content so that if anyone actually watches this stream, it's not just me staring at the screen for 10 minutes. But I've been talking about search and rescue stuff, volunteer opportunities to make the community a better place. Volunteer firefighting, urban search and rescue, CERT, which is the Community Emergency Response Team. I'll go ahead and throw up a link to that too. CERT's kind of cool. They're connected with FEMA, and unless you think FEMA is going to put everyone in a camp, you may as well you know, check them out. So yeah, the CERT team. In fact, I was just looking at one of their training. Oh crap! It's in my other browser. Their training regimen consists of several different modules, if you will, and those are disaster awareness, disaster fire suppression techniques, medical operations, multi-casualty incidents, light search and rescue, team organization, disaster psychology, and terrorism and homeland defense. Do's and don'ts during a terrorist act. That'll be an interesting class for sure. You know, I actually started CERT a bunch of years ago, and I don't know if you can really like get credit for classes you took, you know, 8 years ago, but I started and then I didn't finish because I don't know, I had other stuff going on. I think I was going to move maybe. But I really wish I had stuck around because it's kind of interesting stuff. And a lot of times, oh, what's going on? We got a couple people. So I'm talking about CERT for those of you that are curious. Community Emergency Response Training. And one of the things that's kind of nice about CERT is that if you want to get involved in a disaster, it's not always the most helpful thing to just drive up with your truck and say, "Hey, I'm here, guys. What do you want me to do?" Because if you're not connected to like search and rescue or CERT or the Red Cross, if you're I think they call it like an unregistered volunteer or unaffiliated. Call it an unaffiliated volunteer. So if you're an unaffiliated volunteer and you want to help out in an emergency, they don't always know what to do with you. And not only that, they don't always necessarily want you. I mean, granted, if there's a big need for help, um, they'll put you to work, you know. But it makes it a lot easier to be affiliated with the group because then you get the benefit of all that organization of the triage of different, not just medical triage, but triage and like emergency needs. So CERT, in my opinion, isn't so much about getting like, life-altering training, although it would help, but it's more about getting connected to an organization that in an emergency is well connected to the rest of the organization. So CERT is connected to FEMA, and then other agencies are going to be connected to FEMA, and then whoever like the task force manager of the whole area is will be able to kind of issue orders down to, through the chain of command. So if you really want to make a difference in a disaster, I think trying to become affiliated with some sort of disaster preparedness group can make a lot of sense. So I actually just added myself to the wait list for a CERT class that's coming up, and it's actually really close to where I live. It's like 5 miles away from my house. The only thing is I don't know for sure if my schedule is going to coincide in it, because it's 8 to 12 in the morning. And to be honest, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of reasons not to just go show up and try to help people. You put yourself in danger. You could put other people in danger. Like if you start going and doing, search and rescue in some building that's going to collapse, and you're putting yourself in danger. If other people have to come rescue you, they're in danger because they have to rescue you, and on and on and on. So it's definitely not. I mean, if you want to help pass out food, or if you have medical training and you go up to the Red Cross and say, hey, I have some medical training, if there's you know something, if you need some help. But you're also a very unknown. You're kind of an unknown variable when you just show up. Even if you're a good person and you have skills and you really want to help, agencies are going to be somewhat reluctant to want to work with you, because they don't know who you are. They don't know if you know what you're doing. They don't, they're just not. Yeah, I mean, you got to know what you're doing, but it also helps to have like a little bit of direction. You don't want to be trying to herd cats, because you already have the disaster to deal with. You have people who are displaced, who are hungry, who are scared, who are injured. You already have all that crap to deal with. You don't want to have to manage your volunteers. You want all your volunteers to kind of be knowing what they're doing. So tried to apply to be a volunteer firefighter. I emailed somebody about the search and rescue gig. On the wait list for some CERT class, so we'll see how that goes. And then I was looking up Red Cross classes. Red Cross Red Cross first aid's kind of expensive. I mean, I was just looking up like a basic CPR AED class is like $80 or something. So I might wait until I start working and have a little more spare money to throw at that. And I mean, CPR is important, but I've taken CPR a bunch of times, and I guess it's changed now to where, how is the new CPR different? Is it, God, I can't remember. Maybe I do need to take a CPR. New, something about the breathing, I think. That's right. So yeah, so like there's a new no breath rescue CPR, compression only or hands only CPR. In some circumstances, compression CPR is not recommended. Child and infant, respiratory failure leading to cardiac arrest, unwitnessed cardiac arrest. Okay, so I guess part of the new CPR is that you don't necessarily always want to give rescue breaths. And of course, we know that rescue breaths are not given to get the person to start breathing again. The rescue breaths are to circulate oxygen into the blood so that they don't have, brain damage or unnecessary brain damage. Because, the chest compression very rarely, something like less than 15% of the times, a chest compression alone will start someone's heart. Oh, see you, John. Thanks for coming by and saying hi and bye. Well, you can watch the live stream and talk to your wife at the same time, right? It's not such a big deal. Unless your wife called as in like, come to bed, stop staying up watching your prepper videos. But, I've never had to give anyone CPR myself, fortunately. Sometimes I wonder, I gotta be honest, sometimes I wonder, like, if you were in a situation where there wasn't an AED nearby, would it ever be worthwhile to try to shock someone's heart? Like, get a couple car batteries and try to shock their heart, like make your own AED. It'd probably be a terrible idea. But, I mean, if the person's going to die anyways, I don't know. Trying to make an AED is probably not a great idea, but here we go. The DIY shock treatment that can kickstart a stopped heart. Just before dinner at the hotel, Ian, a supermarket manager, was with his wife Tracy when he suddenly had a cardiac arrest. He heard his heart stopped beating. I felt fine, says Ian. Then we went down to have a drink before dinner. Blah, blah, blah. Before I knew it, I'd blacked out. The next thing I remember is people standing around me in the Black Bull Hospital. Less than 5% of people who have cardiac arrest outside a hospital survive. Yeah. Oh, this is just a story about a defibrillator. That's boring. Here we go. Alternatives to defibrillator in a desperate situation. Here we go. A typical defibrillator shock lasts less than 20 milliseconds and delivers energy in the range of 100 to 300 joules. Typical impedance around 75 ohms. A precordial thump is the closest thing to a defibrillator you're going to get, nothing else. Will stop a heart that is fibrillating, VTAC or VFib, and reset it to a perfusing rhythm. Fibrillating, I think, is like beating in the wrong way. quivering movement due to an uncoordinated contraction. So sort of like, or not going pa-pump, 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 like your heart's having a spasm. Hoping to give the wife CPR. Okay, John. But so yeah, what's been going on in the prepping news? We have Hawaii. Hawaii's going crazy. There was a mob of teens in Chicago doing crazy stuff. Ebola has killed 17 people in the Congo. It's kind of crazy. We're approaching fire season here in California. I wonder. In fact, I know we're sort of, I don't know what like tropical storm season is, but let me check what hurricane season is for the South. I'm sure Bayou Prepper is a little more familiar with it. Summer months. Okay. Typically June 1st to November 30th. So we are approaching hurricane season. In fact, I think there was a tropical, I don't know if it was a tropical storm, but it was like a high energy system a week or so ago I was reading about. So June 1st to November 30th. In fact, speaking of natural disasters, there was an earthquake this morning. Was it this morning? I think it was this morning. Yeah, it was like a 4.5, 20 miles east. I felt my bed going like, whoa. I was like, what the hell is that? Very, of course, I live on a structure that has a soft story underneath. So if there's ever a really, really bad earthquake, I don't know, my whole room might go like that. I don't know if the whole thing would break, but there would be a lot of cracking and it would be bad. A complete and utter failure of the structure would need to be like 6.0, 7.0, 8.0 within like 5 or 10 miles might do it, but I felt it, and I'm sure it's not good for the building to be shaken like that. I mean, if there was a 4.5 earthquake every day, it eventually might cause some issues. I don't know. Man, I think I'm on just way too late for people to be up right now. Like Bayou, are you Eastern time or Central time? Because if you're Eastern time, it's 2 in the morning out there, huh? Pretty early. Mm. Oh, New Jersey. Wow, prepping to endure. You're way out there. New Jersey, man. I take it all the snow's melted, probably. Check out the weather in New Jersey today. I really don't even know that many cities in New Jersey, to be honest. It's kind of embarrassing. Newark, of course. Newark is a pretty. Okay, so it's super muggy. Well, today was a little bit muggy. It's gonna rain Thursday in Newark. And Friday will be nice. It'll rain, scattered thunderstorms and showers. Okay. Interesting, interesting. Camden. Yeah, Camden's a pretty popular city. Have you lived in New Jersey your whole life prepping? And if so, why? Hmm. In fact, let me check out your channel real quick. Forget what you're. I am like subbed to so many people now. It's so hard to keep up with everyone. 608 subscribers prepping to endure. Holy frijoles. Oh, you haven't really put up a video recently, huh? Yeah, 2 months ago was your last video. What's going on? Life must get busy, huh? Got that Jeep? Oh, that Jeep was a couple years ago. Excuse me. Two Jeeps. Wow. Yeah, Jeeps are fun. They're not my favorite off-road vehicle, but they're pretty competent. I just wish they came with a damn locker on the front from the factory. My biggest complaint with those things. I mean, I would say like for off-roading from a scale of like 1 being a city street to 10 being the Rubicon Trail, they're pretty good factory up to like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Once you start getting on like, yeah, I know there's like upgrades and stuff, but factory they're good for about a 6 or a 7 out of 10 difficulty. But if you do a few upgrades, like give them like a 4-inch lift, quick disconnect sway bars, locking hubs, if those were like the only things you did and maybe bigger tires, then you can get up to like an 8 or 9 out of 10. Of course, the way I put it is the more capable your off-road vehicle is, the worse places you get stuck. So, you know, do you really want to roll your Jeep? It's like, you also got to keep in mind, you break an axle, um, depending on like what kind of part, you can probably get out. I think even if you break a front or rear drive shaft, you can throw it in 4-wheel drive and still get out of where you're trying to go. But if you're like off-roading by yourself in a really cutty area, tow truck ain't gonna go out there. So, that's why you kind of like a lot of people think I'm not saying you're like this prepping to endure, but just like off-road enthusiasts in general think like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all this stuff to my truck and I'm gonna go off-road and do all this crazy stuff. But it's like if you have an engine breakdown or you have like a serious problem or you roll it or you get stuck in like some ridiculously deep mud and you only have 50 foot of cable and there's not a goddamn thing to tie to, that's a really good rule. Yeah, I'd never follow that rule when I was off-roading, but I was young and dumb. Now I'm just old and dumb. What's up, Bullfrog? I'm eating some of that cheddar broccoli along with one of those noodle package mixes. Very good. Bullfrog, we were just talking about off-roading a little bit. Is there much off-roading in New Jersey? Are there like mountain trails and stuff that's fun up there? I would love to see some videos of you off-roading, man. You should really think about that next time you have a chance. I'm sure your kid would love off-roading. They usually do. You could even let them drive. 10 years old, put a couple blocks on the pedals, you know. Oh God, yeah, sand and mud are just a dog. Sand especially. Well, I guess sand and mud are both kind of crappy. Mm. Do you have prepping? Do you have a tire pump, portable tire pump with you? Those are super convenient. Nice, nice. Yeah, the biggest pain in the ass with sand and mud is the best tires for sand and mud are like the worst tires for the street. So you kind of, you know, unless you have like a really huge tread pattern, after 5 minutes in the mud, your entire tread is going to be filled with mud and it's going to be turned into a slick. Just kind of the way it goes. Like your tires should kind of look like tractor tires if you want to go mudding. It's kind of an unfortunate thing. And sand is just kind of a dog, you know. Same thing with sand. You gotta have tires that when you're on the scoops, right? I mean, I've never seen like a truck. I've never seen like a regular truck with scoop tires. Usually you see it on like sand rails and dune buggies and dirt bikes and ATVs and stuff like that. But um, oh, what's up, Acer? But yeah, I miss off-roading. I do. I used to have a Jeep. I used to play around in Arizona. It was a lot of fun. Used to go out to drive up down the back of Mount Lemon, um, drive out east. I'm trying to remember what the name of that road was. But yeah, Arizona, one of my most adventurous, Tanque Verde. That's right. You could take Tanque Verde east, and it just turned into like an off-road road, and it just kind of got crazier and crazier and crazier the further out you got. But I remember one time I went on this ridge, like this sort of V in the rocks, and I had one tire on one side and one on the other, and I didn't have a winch or a roll cage, or I was very unprepared to be off-roading like that. But a good AT all-terrain gets by. Yeah, most of the time. Most of the time it does. Plus a little bit of momentum. If you're ever stuck in the Jeep, just give it a little bit more gas. That's like the best off-roading tip. Just more gas. Doesn't always work. But you don't always want to be spinning because if you start spinning the tires too fast, you're not really gonna get a lot of traction. But sometimes the momentum can help get you up the hill. Yeah, you gotta just for me prepping. You gotta next time you go off roading, get some video. Have the kid hold the camera. Kids love to be camera people, and get some good off roading video. That would be highly entertaining to me. I don't know. I might buy a. I haven't really thought about um what my next car purchase will be. My next vehicle purchase will probably be a motorcycle. Probably a dual sport, although I'm not really sure. Um, oh, that's too bad. Busy, huh? I never knew you were in Scottsdale, Acer. I used to live in Tucson, as you've probably been listening. Yeah, Arizona's hot, man. It's just kind of life down there. It's hotter than shit all the time. Gotta gotta figure out like if you want to spend the rest of your life in that heat. Kind of like if I want to, I gotta figure out whether or not I want to spend the rest of my life in California. I mean, I was somebody. I think I was posting an article on Reddit, something about housing prices and how it's expensive. And somebody was saying, oh, you should move to Long Beach. It's affordable. And I looked up the average home price is like $570,000. I can't. Even if I could afford to buy a house, I don't think I'd want to buy a house for $574,000. Got to go to those tax liens, those tax sales, right? That bullfrog. Arizona did have some decent Mexican food. I mean, we have pretty decent Mexican food in California, and to be honest, you know, this let me rant about Mexican food a little bit real quick. A lot of people say like, "Oh, this place has the best Mexican food. This place has the best Mexican food." I've had a lot of Mexican food, and I find like I've been to the best Mexican place, in my opinion, in California was up in San Francisco. It's called El Farolito, and they had the most ridiculously good carnitas I've ever had. Way too much lard. Even the, ladle full of lard on both sides of the burrito. And you have to be drunk. It's good when you're not drunk, but it's better when you're drunk for some reason. I couldn't possibly know why. But the carnita, the super nachos they had there, or the carnitas, or the carne asada was like really really good. But in fact, speaking of Mexican restaurants, I'm gonna share my top secret 3-prong method for grading Mexican restaurants. Okay, you ready for this? This is how you grade all Mexican restaurants. All right, let's see if I can remember. All right, number one, do they charge for chips? They charge extra for chips. Doesn't get a pass in my book. Okay, chips are key. Chips are not that expensive, and you're probably gonna pay $6 or $7 for a burrito. They give you a little bag of chips. Not a big deal. Number two, what does the salsa bar look like? If they only have like a red and a green sauce, no. Sorry. You don't have to have a million types of salsa, but you need more than 2 types of salsa. So, salsa bar. Grading point number 3. How good is the horchata? And of course, is it like from a pre-mix thing or whatever? Now, if it comes out of a fountain machine, I kind of waver on that. Some fountain mixes are decent. Some, like I think Olay, OLE, is like one of the popular fountain mixes, but horchata is my third thing. Now you notice that the quality of meat is not one of my grading factors because that's kind of like a given. I expect that. I mean, obviously, if you're going to try Mexican food, you need to try the carnitas, you need to try the carne asada, and you need to try the chicken, either pollo asado or what, like a few different types of chicken. Asado is like grilled chicken. I mean, you could try barbacoa is usually pretty good. Shredded beef. Yeah, carne asada is like grilled beef, carnitas, roasted pork. Let's see here. Where's the chicken ones? Oh, al pastor. That's right. Al pastor is the other pork one. Hmm. But anyways, that's my Oh God, no, I'm not eating any goddamn tongue. Gross. I've never been a fan. I can't do it. Probably chewy, and I've never even had it. Maybe I should have it at least once in my life, but I don't want to pay for it, to be honest. But yeah, I would get the carnitas, the carne asada, or the chicken. And the best way, to be honest, in my opinion, is don't get a burrito. burrito, they put everything together and you really can't get like a good taste for it. Get like just a combination platter where they put like the meat separate. Or tacos would be another great way to do it. Get like a carnitas taco, a carne asada taco, and a chicken taco. And then kind of like look at the meat. You want it to be flavorful. You don't want it to be all like super huge. Sometimes super huge pieces can be nice, but you don't want it to be all like super tiny. You don't want it to be like covered in grease, but you don't want it to be like super dry either. Plus there's the flavor. So rainforest Acer, where are you spending time in the rainforest? Flower tacos. Flower tacos are nice. Most places do have like flour burritos, but not flour tacos. They always have like corn tacos. In fact, I could do like a whole metric system for grading Mexican places. Another classic one would be like, do they serve them up the traditional Mexican style, which is two corn tortillas per taco? Nicholas, I don't know what you're doing, but you got timed out for spamming the chat. In fact, considering I have the slow chat on, I don't even know. Unless my slow chat got turned off, I don't know how you even spammed the chat to begin with. But let's go ahead and double check that real quick. Anyways, while I'm checking this, why don't you guys let me know what kind of prepping projects you are working on at the moment? Oh, I do not have slow mode on. Okay. I'll set it to 15 seconds. That's not super long. In fact, let's see. Mm, yeah, that's not too bad. That should be pretty reasonable. Which one? I guess you could name a couple of projects you're working on, Bullfrog, if you have multiple projects. Pacific Northwest. Oh, I didn't know you spent time up in the PNW, Acer. Nice up there. It's very nice up there. Beach Palapa. I don't even know what a palapa is. Oh, it's like a little thatched roof, like hut thing. Oh, okay, cool, cool. Yeah, that'd be super nice. Would be super nice. Raw oyster platter. Yeah, I'm like 50-50 on raw oysters. They're all right. All right, prepping to endure. Well, what's the next project you want to work on? What do you have like, when you have more time, energy, money, whatever it is that's holding you back, what's the next thing you're looking to get into? And I'll share some of mine. Well, I got hunting coming up. Oh, okay, prepping. Awesome, Bullfrog. And that is really awesome. I want to do stuff like that too in the future. Definitely. In fact, that reminds me I need to get some more lowers because to comply with certain regs, you have to have the serial number stamped on your lower before July 1st, I think. Shit, I gotta put a reminder to myself for that before I forget. Because I don't have a drill press or a router, but you know, one thing at a time. By the way, Uncle Al, do you use a drill press or a router for your milling from 80% to 100? Maybe you're not talking about going from 80% to 100. Maybe you're talking about just assembling from getting 100% lower. But I have a feeling for some reason you're talking about 80%. By the way, for anyone curious, I'm talking about AB 857 here in California. I guess there's not a bunch of California, just Diboldfrog is the only Californian here, I think. But for what it's worth, wow, that's really interesting, Diboldfrog. Maybe is this like a plan? I'm feel free to send me an email if you don't want to like put it all in the chat, but I'm curious, like, is it your own design or like plans or and if you don't want to send me an email about it, that's totally fine. I understand that too. Um, that's really cool. That's really really cool. I'm all about that stuff for sure. But yeah, I need to pick up. Oh, learn that in Thailand. Oh shit, that is pretty crazy. God, there's so many things I want to do when I finish school. It's not even funny. Like I've been wind wind sea. I don't know what that means. But yeah, my own personal prepping things in the future are going to be some hunting. Going to get some solar going. I really need to get my food and water to 90 days. Although with my two Winchester, okay, with my recent food care packages, I'm definitely getting closer. In fact, I should probably try to like count out how many meals I have right now, and maybe put it all in my carry-on bag so that I have it all in one place, ready to go as needed. In fact, I need to actually work on some storage. I have enough volume in my apartment, but I don't really have enough like appropriate storage methods. Like I could put 90 gallons of water under my bed. That would actually work really well. The problem is I just have to take all the crap that's already under my bed out. I really need to finish this bug out boat and just sell it and just get rid of it. It's kind of I don't know if it's something I'm ever really going to use on the regular. It was kind of a fun, interesting project, but I think I honestly just, as much as it kind of pains me to do it, and I do like windsurfing, it just takes up a lot of space in this apartment, and you know, it's just kind of frustrating to me to have something that takes up so much space. I mean, Granted, both the surfboards are perfectly good surfboards, or good enough for me to surf on anyways, and the windsurfing gear is perfectly good enough, so I don't know. I just I just don't have the time and energy to like go burn a whole day on a weekend at the beach. At least I haven't recently. Maybe when after I'm done with school and I'm making money, I'll be more interested in spending a day at the beach, but I really have not like this prepping stuff that I'm doing and live streaming and going to the range and going on a hike here and there is like the most fun that I've had in the last few years. I've really been kind of scrubbing along, not really a lot of extra money. I mean, I make money here and there doing the part-time stuff, but it's always like not enough to 6 5-gallon buckets of food for 90 days. Okay. I don't have any food that comes in a 5-gallon bucket. Maybe at some point I should be buying like quantities of rice like that or something. I don't know. But hunting, solar, food and water storage. Oh, and the training stuff. So trying to get connected with search and rescue, volunteer fire, CERT, just some kind of training organization to get me a little more connected to the emergency preparedness community. Because in all likelihood, we're not, as far as like a global shit hits the fan or across the whole country shit hits the fan, it's not like super likely, but excuse me, but if there's somebody around California, if there's a disaster around California, whether it's fires or earthquakes, it would be nice to be able to help out. I have not, Uncle Al. It would be nice to help out my local community. Let's take a look at Uncle Al's new video. What's going on here? Millennial danger, sheep or Nazis? That one? Weird tall tales and some knives? Yeah, I got Steve, my new baby here. A Kershaw Speed Safe. Very, very nice knife. And I really like how it's kind of hard to close but easy to open. It's pretty slick. Slickest knife I've ever had, that's for sure. I do, Uncle Al, need to watch a few of your videos. Maybe I'll check them out tonight after this live stream. Um, I do all I do always try to watch your videos, Uncle Al, more so than a lot of other my subs, to be honest. Which isn't really fair to other subs, but you got more subs than I do, Uncle Al, just by a few. In fact, maybe Uncle Al, what would be really fun is excuse me, that was kind of gross. But Uncle Al, we should find everyone who has below like 250, 275 subs and have like a race to 500. I think that would be really, really fun. It would motivate us all to make more videos, to do more interesting things, to get more, get more subs, get more connected with the community. In fact, I gotta write that down. We gotta have a race to 500. I think that would be what's up, Vesta? I think that would be really fun. And then, of course, we'd have a race to 1,000 because once you hit 1,000, then you can get super chats and you're closer to getting monetized. Of course, you need an ungodly amount of hours and minutes watched. In fact, I wonder if live streaming is a good way to increase the minutes watched because if I have 4 people watch for an hour, that's 360 minutes. Interesting. No, live streams are not a good way to get to minutes watched increased. That's unfortunate. Don't think so, huh? In fact, let me check my dashboard for that, just out of curiosity. By the way, in your weird tall tales video, Uncle Al, I like that hat. That's like an Air Force cadet cap. I used to have one of those when I was in ROTC. You know, I don't know if I would have made it through basic training and through ROTC. I was kind of a little bit crazy in college, but I like to think that if I had made it through, I would have made not the worst Air Force, officer in the world. Would have been an interesting life. A life. I wonder if in a parallel dimension I became an Air Force officer. Probably. Well, I'm currently at just under 16,000 minutes watched. You know what, Uncle Al? I think the live stream does count for minutes watched because my We Are live stream with 66 views has 1,711 minutes watched, which accounts for 11% of my total minutes watched. My other live stream accounts for 9%. My other live stream counts for 6.4%. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, I got 1,000 subs plus met the hours watched and they didn't monetize me. Oh, I'm sorry, Vesta. That's really interesting. Let me check out your channel real quick. You did just break 1,000 subs. Congratulations, Vesta. That's really cool. You know your homepage doesn't have any content, Vesta? Not a big deal, but I'm just saying. So you do a lot of gaming, it looks like. Pretty much completely gaming. Okay, that's cool. Are you in Australia, Vesta? Sound like you're in Australia, and if your nickname is Drunk Koala, that would kind of make sense. You are. It says Australia. Oh, well, good day, mate. I was in Australia years and years and years ago, from '89 to '91. Yeah, I know more videos on prepping topics. Believe me, I'm working on it. I am working on it. In fact, I just went to Big Five recently and got some ammo. There's a not a great there's about a 50-50 chance that I might go to the range tomorrow. 50-50 chance. It's in the evening. Traffic kind of gets to be a nightmare. So traffic on the way up is going to be a little bit of a nightmare. I can hang out there, and I can't really, if I hung out at the range for like 4 hours, the traffic wouldn't be that bad. But I'm probably, the discount starts at 4:30. So if I shoot from 4:30, I can't really afford to shoot for 2 hours unless I like really take my time. Um, this kind of sucks. kind of unfortunate. But yeah, you want to change the channel. I agree, Vesta. I think you should switch to prepping videos. I mean, honestly, follow what you're passionate about, but I think there's a lot more valuable things, at least in my own opinion, to like spend time doing as far as like personal development wise. Not to say that gaming can't be, you can't develop yourself in some ways. Gaming, PUBG's really hot right now. Like if you played Player Unknown Battleground, you could probably get some more content. But um, prepping's a good life skill. Vesta, you can uh, there's a lot of reasons to prep, and not all of them have to do with getting ready for a disaster like a fire or thunderstorms or whatever, right? I guess thunderstorms, well, excuse me, don't really count, but bad storms, bad weather, natural disasters, what have you. um, Prepping involves being frugal, being healthy, um, having good training, having some amount of tools and equipment, knowing your surroundings. There's a lot of different aspects to it that can be really valuable. Getting connected with the community, home defense, lots of good reasons to prep. In fact, that would be a really good video, like top 10 reasons to prep, not for the end of the world. Like, oh, I gotta write this down. Gotta write this down. Maybe like I'd call it prepping beyond the end of the world. Well, maybe I'll just have to make another video anyways, Dive Bullfrog. Shoot me an email with the link to your video if you want, or you're a moderator. You could link to that video in the chat if you want, Dive Bullfrog, if you can find it. Because otherwise I gotta click like next video, next load videos, and do that until I find the video. And the way you title your videos, Bullfrog, I don't know if I would find it as easily as you might think. So feel free to plug your video. Linda Lucy, Prepare Your Family for Survival. Linda Lucy, excellent book, LA Public Library. Are you sure it's in my public library, Acer? Have you been looking at the public library catalog online? Prep Your Family for Survival, Linda Lucy. All right, let's look this up. Interesting. Linda Loosely. There's too many L's in her name. I should write her a letter and tell her that. All right, let's go ahead and save this somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere. Shoot. All right, saved it. Cool. Looking at LA Prepper. Okay. Well, I'll try. I've been through 2 earthquakes, and there will be more. I've never been through a big earthquake. I wasn't living down here during the Northridge earthquake, and I wasn't living up north during Loma Prieta, so I have managed to miss all the interesting earthquakes in California. In fact, I've never really been in like a really bad natural disaster. I mean, the worst See you, Preppy Door. Yeah, get some sleep. Take care. Good luck with the divorce. I wish I could help you with that, but just stay strong, buddy. Life goes on. Gonna be a stronger person, and with any luck, you'll find love again someday. That's my life advice for you, Preppy, to endure. Hang in there. Hang in there, buddy. Okay, so 88 Mark 86. Hi, by the way. Thanks for coming to the stream. Not everyone can move to Thailand, Bullfrog. You keep saying stuff like this, like move to Thailand. Like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna quit my whole life and go to Thailand. Like that's something I can just do. Um, so Mark is saying, are all of you SoCal people ready for a shit hits the fan escape and evasion? I'm not right now, to be honest. I'm really not. Could I throw a bunch of stuff into my car and just start driving somewhere? Yeah. Is it a really great idea if you don't really know where you want to go? Not so much, you know. I mean, part of me just wants to buy like a chunk of dirt, like somewhere within 3 hours of where I live. I'll talk, you know, I have connections in Cambodia, believe it or not. I do. But part of me really just wants to buy like, you know, tax lien property like that Bullfrog has been talking about, or a chunk of land, you know, less than $10,000, right? Not like a huge amount of money. Just buy it just so I can have something to own, something where I could put a container on, something where, you know, I could just start to develop something, like just go out there once a month and work on the garden. Uh, Now, how am I going to get to Hatchapee, huh? I mean, you know, honestly, Mark, Arizona. Look at Idaho too. Idaho's a permitless carry state, just like Arkansas, just like Arizona. Arizona, the tough part is the heat and like the job market. The job market's not like the best in the world, not the worst in the world, but you know, Arizona has good gun laws. It's relatively cheap to live down there. Yeah, so on my permitless carry states, we have Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Idaho, Kansas, Pennsylvania, Maine, Mississippi, Missouri, New Hampshire, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Those are all the states where you can carry and the government won't try to put you in prison, which is always nice. Tehachapi. I was going to look up Tehachapi. Where is Tehachapi? I don't know. Let's zoom out a little bit. Still have no idea. Let's zoom out a little bit more. Oh, east of Bakersfield. Okay. Well, I would be slightly closer to Die Bullfrog. Yeah, I mean, the Inland Valley is going to be where I'm going to find some cheap land for sure. Um, it just kind of sucks like buying stuff out in the desert because, you know, like hopefully you have groundwater. Maybe you have groundwater, depending. Not maybe not if you're in the giant big open plain, but you're not going to have No, I'm okay without most utilities, right? Like electricity, you can do solar. Water is going to be a thing. Um, and then like plumbing, if you're actually trying to live out there, you need either a composting toilet or a cesspit, you know, or a sewage, like a septic tank. So it's, I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but I need something. You know, I just land in California to buy a house. It just kills me to keep renting, but I mean, I thought about like living on a boat, trying to commute like by plane into LA. I mean, I got to get out of LA, but I have some job potential coming up in LA, so freaking A. Freaking A. Why does the state have to be so goddamn expensive? Buddy wants me to move to the Ozarks. Yeah, could. Just got to get a job. Oh, die bullfrog. So Cambodia, yeah, one of my old neighbors' mom runs a hotel in Cambodia, and she could probably use some help running the hotel. Now, I don't speak Cambodian, which might be a little bit of a problem. I'm sure I could pick it up eventually, but yeah, that would be kind of a cool job. Of course, I'd kind of have to like live out there. I don't know if I would need to be. Plus, they're also a communist country, so they may or may not love the fact. Like my buddy is Cambodian, his mom's Cambodian, so maybe they kind of give him a little bit of break. But big, tall, white guy in Cambodia may or may not be the safest thing in the world. I don't know. You're still wanted in Lugano? Oh Jesus, die bullfrog! What did you do? Where the hell is Lugano? Switzerland? Are you talking about Switzerland? Or is Lugano in Cambodia? Die bullfrog. You continue to surprise me. Get a mining claim for $500 and you can improve it any way you want. So you improve it under the guise of I'm improving it for mining purposes. That's really interesting, Mark. Thank you. That is really, really interesting. Yeah, Cambodia is kind of primitive, I think. I think you're right on that. Maybe I should just, travel to Cambodia, buy a little bit of property on the beach and just like Airbnb it. I mean, if my monthly payment was like, if I could buy it for like $5,000 or something. Oh, long-term lease with no expiration. Interesting. If you have a good link on where I could read more about that, Mark, feel free to let me know. Oh, in Cambodia, landmines and cobras. Well, yeah, landmines are kind of a bummer. Just a little bit. Mining claims on eBay. Go figure. I would have never thought to look. The only problem with a mining claim is like, if you're mining for an ore, like a precious metal, like a gem or gold or silver or something, and you're trying to withdraw, or actually maybe not silver, but like gold or something that you pull out of the earth in the state that it's in, that's one thing. But like you try to mine copper, you have to like process the ore and go through this whole freaking process to get copper out of rock or ore that has copper in it. Yeah, well, nobody wants a toxic waste site, do they, Uncle Al? Well, there's a claim in Upper Haslow Placer Mine in historic Mariposa County for $3,200. Fascinating. Absolutely. 20-acre Placer gold mining claim, Cornucopia, Baker City, Oregon, $500, no bid. Holy shit, this is so interesting. Colorado gold mining claim. Cottonwood Creek silver mine, 20 acres, $565. Gold panning on federal land. Unpatented mine. Wow, this is really interesting. All right, I need a claim. I don't know what I would do with the claim. Of course, I would pan it. In fact, Die Bullfrog, if you ever need a place to stay, Die Bullfrog, and I end up buying a mining claim, you can be my 24/7, 365 days a year security guard. And as a security guard, you will have full rights to pan and mine as much on my mining claim as you want, providing you throw me a little kickback of whatever you find. So wouldn't that be like a cool housing situation, Uncle Al? Wouldn't you want to live somewhere where you could just mine all day? I know you want to do some more mining, Uncle Al. I know you do. I know it. Flamethrowers. What are we talking about flamethrowers? If you're talking about being a security with flamethrowers, hey, I'll leave the tools of the trade up to you. Wow, what scares me is I could actually place a bid on this. That's a little bit scary. But for now, I'm just going to watch it. I am now watching a claim. This is very exciting. Very, very. Ooh, Nevada gold mining claim. $2,006, 67 bids. Cool. And for those of you that don't know, I have actually wired explosives for a mine. So I could I've used pneumatic drilling equipment. I am fully capable of doing very elementary mining. Fully experienced. Well, as a novice anyway. But yeah, panning is tough work. Keep the gold. To keep a claim, you have to show that you actually work at some. Okay. You've been looking into this, Mark. Interesting. But see, like, how did so to keep so let's say I get a claim, I buy a claim for $500 and I want to make it my bug out location. I could just throw a container up there and say, "Oh, this container is to hold on my mining equipment." And then granted you probably want to have some mining equipment. So like you go up there, you get your rock box out, your shaker box or whatever, your slud, your dredge, your what's the God, I'm so bad. What's the chute with the chute with all the little bars on it? I'm embarrassing myself right now, I know, but a sluice, I think. Yeah, sluice. Get your sluice set up. Um, yeah, thank you, Mark. Wow, you can build a small cabin or a shed. That's so crazy. Dude, you totally should, Mark. I mean, if you can get one for less than a couple $1,000, that's really cool. We'll get Die Bullfrog to come out and give mining lessons. Bug bites. Wow, Mark, you have just opened up an entire new world to me that I never really thought about. In fact, Mark, today is the day I am upgrading you to moderator. Congratulations, Mark, for your contributions to my channel and to the prepping community at large. I hereby dub you moderator. No, seriously though, I really love. Wow, that's really interesting. Well, before I buy a claim, and maybe before you buy a claim, Mark, send it to Uncle Al. In fact, Mark, if you don't have Uncle Al's email, I'm not the person to give it to you, but feel free to. In fact, let's see if we can find Uncle Al's email from his YouTube channel. I think you can. Yeah, okay. So I would recommend, Mark. I mean, I know you're your own man and you have clearly done some research into this, but I also know for a fact that Uncle Al has done some mining in the past. And I don't know how much you can tell just by looking at a plot whether or not it's going to be a decent place to mine. But for what it's worth, if you're ever about to buy a mining claim, I'm sure Uncle Al would be more than happy to give you his 2 cents on, excuse me, on whether or not it might have some viability or not. So it's so funny that I have like two mining enthusiasts. In fact, I guess I'm not really a mining enthusiast, but just for the bug out. Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, I tell you what, Mark, you know, maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe we can kind of like work something out. Like imagine maybe you wanted like multiple bug out locations. If you had a place, like I wonder if you have to prove that you're doing the mining or like if you had employees, quote unquote, doing the mining. Like let's say, Mark, you bought a $500 claim here in California, but then you move to Arizona, but you don't want to lose the California claim. What if like Die Bullfrog and I went out there, did some mining out there, took some pictures and sent them to you and said, here, if anyone ever asks if you've done mining out there, here's some mining activities that we've done to prove that done some mining. Hmm. Interesting. Photoshop? Very, very interesting. Mining claims. I think I'm going to head off pretty soon here because it's getting a little bit late. And what's tomorrow? Wednesday? No, today's Wednesday. What's today? Today is the day I work on my paper a lot. Wow. High grade gold mining claim north of Yuba River, 40 acres, financing $7,495, 31 people watching, or best offer. So 7,500 or best offer. And it's got a nice flowing stream next to it to help with that, the whole mining process and everything. Here we go. Here's one for you, Mark. Arizona, chloride, copper, silver. Ooh, excuse me. Very cool. Very freaking cool. I think I need to have a mining claim in my life. I'm sure of it. Yeah, Mark. I mean, if anything, it'd be a good, as far as like when I get some land or a claim or something to kind of bug out to, I think at a minimum, you kind of start off slow, right? Like when you're bringing people into into the group, like you might start off like talking to someone on YouTube, then you might start off on their live stream, then you might go to an email, and then you might go to a phone number, then you might go to talking on the phone or regular email correspondence or meeting up for a coffee or a drink or and kind of and then you kind of go to like camping and then maybe a few camping trips. So even if you're not going to have people like come live at your claim for the rest of your life, um, I think a lot of people would really be interested in kind of just like meeting up for like projects, right? Like if right now you had a claim that was like 2 hours from my house, I wouldn't be there every weekend, but I'd be down to come by like, I don't know, a couple times a year and help you out with building something or getting something set up or even just hanging out and just like seeing what's going on, right? Like kind of looking at how you're doing solar and your food and whatever. So I think it's a really interesting idea. Um, a waste site for tailings. Yeah, it's. I mean, you always have to exercise caution when you're looking into real estate, right? Shutters Creek, Sonora, or Jamestown. Okay, but yeah, it's really really interesting. I guess that bullfrog, you'd want to kind of get an inspection on the property. I don't know. Oh, okay, yeah, wildfires. I don't know about snakes. You have to worry too much about snakes, but yeah, pot farmers are pretty obvious because they have big pot plants, right? So kind of hard to hide the fact that you're a pot farmer. Tweakers all over the hills. Yeah, but tweakers are obvious though. See, I like obvious criminals because obvious criminals are like easy to spot. Tweakers are all skinny. They're always twitching. They're always got a million fucking sores on their faces, and they're just like scratching down to the bone. I mean, it's really sad. They're skinny as shit. They're smoking cigarettes. They're probably have some terrible tattoos. They probably look like fucking death is at their doorstep. You'd spot a tweaker a mile away. Pot farmer is a little harder to spot. Um, they tend to not be that skinny. They tend to be a little more low key, depending on how intelligent they are. Maybe even a little overweight, depending. But yeah, you probably do. When that person next to you at CVS is buying like 20 bottles of aspirin or acetaminophen, right? No kidding. I didn't know that. Well, of course, now with the California laws, it's changing to where we have a lot more legal, a lot more legal growing of that stuff. So I don't know if that's been affecting the market at all. Oh, excuse me. But one can hope. God, I'm so tired, but it's so interesting talking about like mining claims and bug out locations. Yeah, I swear sometimes Uncle Al, and Mark, I just want to buy some land, build a warehouse, and just lease it to somebody doing that. I don't even care. Um, because not everyone wants to be an owner. You still kind of have to deal with the feds with that shit. Like the DEA can still bust on you. Um, it's still there's still risk involved from a legal standpoint, and financially, banks it can be hard to get loan like business loans to do that stuff. It's basically impossible to borrow money from a bank to do that stuff. You try to open a commercial account and tell them you're a pot farmer, they're not really going to be interested in dealing with you. Marijuana, yeah, I'm not. I'm not trying to grow meth or make meth. I should say you don't grow meth, you process it. But anyways, yeah, no, a warehouse for marijuana, growing marijuana, and just lease it to some legal growers, not illegal growers. Somebody that like has a whatever their commercial license to grow however many plants. I think the number of plants you can grow depends on the county. It's funny. Desert. Where is Desert Hot Springs? Desert Hot Springs is just north of Palm Springs, and Palm Springs is a little bit east of Riverside. Okay. I have never been to Palm Springs, if you can believe it. It's actually not super far away from me. Desert Springs is about an hour, about 2 hour drive from me. Okay, from LA. Yeah. Yeah, I tell you, there's so much potential just waiting for me. Yeah, well, there's always something, Uncle Al. There's always something. It's either hot or it's cold or it's expensive or there's too many people. There's no such thing as a perfect place to live, and if there is, it sure as shit ain't in California. Um, you got to work with what you got. You got to work with what you got, right? So, but I swear, I gotta. Well, Thailand's far away, Uncle Al. I don't have a job in Thailand. I don't speak Thai. I don't feel like really San Jacinto Mountains, huh? Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, there's okay. I got to end the stream. I can't stop. Oh, I can't, Uncle Al. I can't give up on California yet. Not yet. Not until there's just like no hope. No hope for my future. No hope for job. No hope for surviving at some point of with some amount of quality of life. Not saying I would never become an expat, but it's kind of low on my list. He lives in the Inland Valley. $2,000 total a month, a year. Oh, hey, Christy, I'm about to jump off, but thanks for coming by and saying hi. A month. Well, I don't have $2,000 a month, do I? So, and if I live in Thailand, I might not get a job making $2,000 a month. Thailand would be a good move for after I own my multifamily apartment complex, after I own a storage facility, after I own a laundromat. I'm going to buy all the laundromats that Christy's trying to buy. But if I had $2,000 of passive income, or 4,000 or 10,000, I want several $1,000s of passive income. Yeah, maybe I'd live in Thailand, but it's uh, it's just hard for me to envision myself living like so far away from America. I know it's more economical to live over there, and I could buy a sailboat and just sail around the islands and the ocean and probably have a grand old time. Um, you know, $2,000 a month. I mean, if you had a house, if you had already bought a house and you could get a mortgage payment for about $1,000 a month, I don't know about live like a king, but you won't starve. I'm working on some things that are going to keep me in California for at least the short term. And I know California is a shithole, but the things that I'm working on are worth staying in California. You're going to have to trust me on that. So that's kind of all I can say about that for now. I mean, yeah, I know Christy is our little desert friend. But I think I'm going to probably sign off. I've been on for almost 2 hours, and I guess this is my late night crew. Sorry, Christy, I know you just got here, but I've been kind of yawning constantly, so it's a little unprofessional, even for me. So I don't know. That's a good question. Where is Dai Bullfrog going? Dai Bullfrog hasn't moved to Thailand yet or Cambodia. What is the future? What does the future hold for Dai Bullfrog? I don't know. Don't really know. But speaking of that Dai Bullfrog, a really good video would be like where to move for shit hits the fan, like where to relocate. Be a good video. Oh, you're gonna make me jealous, Acer, talking about going to the range. I hate you, Acer. Range is expensive. I was buying shotgun shells today and they're freaking gripped like $1 a shell. Christ. Idaho, fastest growing state in the country. Open carry laws, lots of land, relatively inexpensive. Not a ton of jobs, but there's stuff up there. Land of Land and Land lives up in Idaho right now. In fact, I don't know if you watched his video, Dai Bullfrog. He was touring an abandoned house. Man, go start squatting in that house. Start paying the property taxes for a couple years. See if you can kind of like take it over. That would be pretty cool. But anyways, people, I am gonna take off. It's been kind of a long day. I worked a little bit this morning putting some ceiling fans together for a client. Then I came home and I was hot from being in my car. I took a nap. And then I woke up and then I went to class. And then I stayed at class for like an hour and a half helping a bunch of other students on their project. That in retrospect, I'm not, it's good to help other students, but they never really helped me with shit. So after I left class, I was like, you know what? Why am I helping these people? They're not my friends. They don't really like call me up to say how I'm doing. They don't help me with my assignments. Why am I helping them with their assignment? I don't know. Crazy. Every once in a while, I try to do something for other people instead of myself. But when it comes to school, everyone's like so competitive. Like, why am I spending an hour and a half of my time to help them get through a class when I'm like kind of struggling to get through the class? Who knows? Snow and cows. Interesting. Prescott. Yeah. Well, make some videos, Mark. If make some videos about where you're thinking about moving in Arizona, and you'll get responses. Like put up a video. Should I move to Prescott, Arizona? Should I move to Flagstaff? Should I move to Phoenix? The answer as far as Phoenix, no, you should not move to Phoenix. Yes, that is correct, Mark. Graduate in mechanical engineering. 2 more weeks. 2 more freaking weeks. In fact, tonight was my second to last class. Next Thursday is my and our bastard of a teacher like is assigning us our finals so freaking late. I mean, I guess it's better to get it like better late than never, but we only had a couple of classes. I never had a fluid dynamics class. I had fluids. I mean, I guess we had like fluids 1 and 2. Yes, Los Angeles series commenter. I had a fluids mechanics class, but I never had a fluid dynamics class, and I've never done a lot of like computational fluid dynamics stuff. Just unfortunately hasn't really been part of my degree. But if that question is related to something else, feel free to ask me about it, or you want to send me an email about your fluid dynamics question, you can bug me at laprepping@gmail.com. No, it's not. It's not a great location for shit hits the fan, but the thing is, unless like unless there's a really, really big society ends type of situation, the city is not really much different than the country. The city only turns to crap when you have like the power is out for a week or the water stops flowing for a week. Power being out for a day or two, nobody cares, right? So unless things are like really, 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 really bad, my biggest problem with the city is that houses are just expensive. Land's expensive. That's the biggest downside in the city is just the cost of living here. Well, I tell you, Mark, I have a new respect for engineers, most engineers in general, because it's a lot of damn work. Civil engineers, mechanical engineers, aerospace engineers, electrical engineers, computer science. It's all so much work. Yeah, but if anybody goes without power for 3 days, they go nuts. That's the whole point of prepping is that no one it's our common thread. We all rely on power. We all rely on water. We all rely on the store for our food. That's why we want to prep is because it's not a good thing to always have to rely on somebody else to take care of you, you know? Well, get some solar. I'm going to be getting some solar soon from one of my wonderful subscribers if the stars align. And yeah, Honda generators are cool. Make sure it's a nice and quiet one. You don't want to be waking up the whole neighborhood and giving away your security. But I mean that's good to like kind of run the fridge and stuff in your house. But to be honest, 3,000 watts, like that's a lot of watts. That's like running a fridge and a couple things, I guess. But anyways, I'm gonna take off because otherwise I'm just gonna keep going. So thanks for stopping by, everyone. Mark, Christy, Guy Bullfrog, Acer. Serious commenter. Haven't seen you around that much, but thanks for stopping by. Oh, 40 pounds. That's pretty light. But take care. Keep prepping. Keep working on your projects. Keep saving money. Keep getting that food and water stored. Keep working on your home defense. Keep working on and training. Training. Get some training. Do some training this summer, whether it's first aid training, disaster preparedness training, fitness training, prepping related training, edible food training. Get some training. Skills don't take up any space and they don't weigh anything. You can take them anywhere you want for the rest of your life. Even if you don't have your EDC, your bug out bag, your inch bag, your bug out vehicle, if you only have the clothes on your back, you will always have your skills. All right, take care everyone. Have a good night, and as always, keep prepping.